Matthew chapter 1, we're going to start reading at verse 18. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Now the birth of Jesus was as follows. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not wanting to make a public example, I can make an entire message all in itself. How many of you, when you done wrong, you want everybody to know they did you wrong? Was minded to put her away secretly. But while he thought about these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream, saying, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take to you Mary your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she will bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. I want you to back up to verse 18. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together. Everyone has expectations. Joseph was just like everyone else. He had expectations. What I want us to look at today was the expectations he had for his marriage. And to understand the full capacity of that, we have to understand what the Bible calls betrothal. The entire process. So I went to searching, I went to studying. I didn't want to know the current day understanding or the current day process by which someone is betrothed to another, because I've always heard it as, well, it's the equivalent of our engagement. Well, it's not. As a matter of fact, they have nothing that looks like our engagement. And so to understand what Joseph was expecting, we have to understand he was already in the process. Betrothal involved the establishment of a marriage covenant. And this is how it was done. The groom, after he had picked who he wanted to be his wife, now some of this is going to seem archaic to some of you, but stick with me, okay? Once he had decided who he wanted to be his wife, the groom would leave his father's home and travel to the home of the father of the prospective bride. Once there, he would sit down with his future father-in-law and he would negotiate what was known as the bride price. It was a price that a young Jewish man would pay for his bride-to-be. He would pay this to the father. Now, it is not like you going and purchasing a car. It isn't like you going to the mall and getting a new outfit. It was an understanding. I am going to pay you this price because I want you to understand how serious I am about this relationship. Now, once they had negotiated the price, I do think that's kind of funny that you would negotiate. I'm willing to pay $30. Father-in-law says, nope, she's at least worth 34. I think that's kind of funny. But that was their process and that's how they did it. Now, once the negotiated price had been set and the prospective groom had paid the price, a marriage covenant was established. This was the legal aspect of being married. It was like you and I today entering into a marriage covenant, not in the wedding ceremony, but in the signing of the license. They would sit down together and draw up a covenant that basically stated that you are mine and I am yours and nobody else can have us. Okay? That's put in my vernacular. They would have said it much more poetically and much, but that's how I put it. All right? Now, once the marriage covenant was established, from that time on the bride was declared to be sanctified or set apart exclusively for that groom. The groom would then return to his father's house and be separated from his bride for a period of 12 months. This is post-marriage. She is involved in no way in the negotiating process. She is only brought out, once the price has been paid, she is brought out so that the groom can establish that covenant with her by speaking the vows to her. She then turns around and leaves, and the groom leaves. For the next 12 months apart, as husband and wife, the two have certain obligations. The wife, during that 12-month period, would gather in a hope chest what was known as her trousseau. At least that's how they tell me they pronounce it on the internet. That's how it said? Okay, I'm glad I got that right. I didn't want to look like a fool up here. Well, what was in that, I've always heard that she gathered her dowry, and it was explained that the dowry was some kind of price that she paid back to the husband. And in all my understanding or all of my studying, that was not it at all. What the trousseau was a hope chest filled over that 12 months with things that she wanted to carry into her marriage. Essential stuff, like lingerie and makeup. That's good stuff. She put into that, but it wasn't just that stuff. It was bridal accessories. It was stuff like bed linens and that sort of things that she wanted to take into the marriage. Now, during this same period of time, while she was collecting this stuff, the husband had gone back to his father's house and began the preparation of their living quarters. Now, this was not a separate living condition, but it was rooms that were built onto the back of his family's estate. Now, I'm going to be quite honest, as soon as I read that, it gave brand new meaning. Thank you, ma'am. It gave brand new meaning to Jesus' words. Whoo, hallelujah. I'll save that till later. Excuse me. I might as well tell you because I done ruined this. We needed $180. You guys gave $638.49. Restoration Ministries, I want to say I'm proud to be a pastor of a church that loves people. I've been places where people hate people. Believe me, I know. And I'm so glad to be a part of a ministry that loves people. Thank you so much. Now, let's see if we can get back into this. Maybe that was a bad thing for me to have them do in the middle of my message. And for everybody, I asked them to do that, okay? I wanted to know. For me, once I began to understand what that was saying about him building onto the back of his parents' house, it gave brand new meaning to Jesus' words in John 14:2-3, when he said, "In my Father's house are many mansions." The word mansion is a horrible translation. We built theologies and we built songs off of the one word mansion. I've got a mansion just over the hilltop and that kind of stuff. And it's horrible theology. Because the word that he was using there was the word that they would use describing the bridal chambers that the husband would go and build onto the back of his father's house. The rooms, the living quarters that he would build. And he said, "I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come back and receive you." The language Jesus was using there was the exact language. It was a direct correlation to the betrothal and the marriage process. Basically, he's saying, I came down here to negotiate a bride price, and now that I have negotiated and paid the price for my bride, I'm going back to Dad's house to prepare you some to prepare you some rooms. And if I go away, don't worry, baby, because one day I'm coming back and I'm going to get you, and I'm taking you back with me. And so it gave brand new meaning to those words. He came to pay a price for us as his bride.